Welcome, Inner Peace Yoga community. My name is Joelle, and this is your yoga studio online. Thank you for joining me today for a quick 20-minute Yoga4Backs practice. This will be just a great opportunity to do something if you only have a few minutes at the end of the day, or perhaps maybe at the beginning of the day before you leave for work. For the practice, we're going to need a black strap, a white felt pad. If you don't have a felt pad, you can use a rolled up towel or a yoga mat, as well as a belt. Let's begin by finding a nice comfortable place to sit. We'll just take a few minutes here connecting to our structure and trying to find that healthy alignment. A lot of our problems, I would say probably 99% of our problems are structural related, or we're not connecting to the breath properly. So the moment we can start to make a proper connection to our structure and we can really start to connect to the diaphragm, we can start to notice that we're freeing our lives of a lot of problems. Mentally, physically, this is just likely why a lot of us have a lot of the issues that we do suffer with is, I'm sure, postural and breath related. So we're going to try to find a little bit of a healthier alignment. Now, when we're looking at a seated position, I don't really care what you do with your legs. Just make sure that they're comfortable. But where I do want you to bring your focus is your pelvis. So I want you to bring your bum behind you. Feel that inward curve in the lower back as you do. Taking your lower ribs, soften them by bringing them down and back towards the spine. So what we've just done here is we've connected the lower ribs to the lower back, the diaphragm to the pelvis, trying to find a nice stable base. If I was to locate where my pubic bone is and my as-is bones, which are those two bony prominences at the front of your pelvis, those bones should now be level with one another. So our pubic bone isn't coming ahead, and our as-is bones aren't coming ahead. So we're trying to find a little bit of that neutral. After we've connected the ribs, we're going to move up the body so we find a gentle lift in the collarbones, shoulders moving down from the ears, and then we're going to level the chin and bring the chin back. So what we do here now is we release a compression at the top of the neck, and we start to strengthen all the muscles at the front of the neck and lengthen out the ones at the back. So this is a really great position to help to practice with that forward head carriage that a lot of us do. So if you do notice that that's happening to you, just drop the chin, bring the head back, create that double chin at the front, but know that it's really good work for your spine, your muscles. And so you might just hold yourself here, practicing holding yourself upright and taking conscious breaths. And maybe you do this for a minute or two throughout the day. Okay, now let's come off of any height, and we're going to start with the felt pad and the black strap. So you're going to take that felt pad the longer way and roll it up to make a nice tight thin roll. Let's bring that thin roll mid-mat. Bring your feet down towards the bottom end of the yoga mat, bending the knees. Let's rest down so that the roll comes just below the bottom of the shoulder blades, the scapula. So you'll feel that roll in the ribs at the back. And then grabbing the black strap, folded in half, bring the two ends of the black strap together and behind so it touches nice and tight up against the roll. And then walk the strap up. Interlace your fingers behind the strap, holding the place where the head is, not the neck is. And then elbows coming in a little closer to the body. Find your breath. Consciously breathing through the nose. When you inhale, take a slow, deep breath in and allow that tension that we carry to surface. Feel the pressure. On the exhalation, softening into that, let's let the upper body come down just a little bit to the floor. And then inhale again, deep diaphragmatic belly breath. Exhale slowly down. Inhale again, expand the belly. Exhale, softening towards the floor. And just continuing on your own until eventually your fingertips touch the ground. Don't rush to get there, and don't get there just because maybe I'm getting there before you. Once you are there, slide the hands out. Bring your arms into a T or a cactus position with your palms faced up towards the sky. If you need a little bit more stability for your shoulders, you can take your elbows to that roll and just rest your hands on your ribs or your belly. Notice the sensations. Notice the resistance, the pressure. Keep the knees bent. Feel as though the bum is behind you, and if it doesn't feel that way, pick up your pelvis, hinge at your hips enough to bring the bum behind. Pubic bone level with as is bones. Deep breathing. Shoulders nice and heavy. Allow the mid back to rest heavy on the roll. Noticing resistance in the muscles that run along your spine, all the way down to the top of the pelvis. This is such a great pose to do midday or at the end of the day when you've been spending a lot of time sitting. You can think of this as undoing all of what you've done today. Or perhaps if you're doing this at the beginning of the day, this is your opportunity to really be mindful of alignment and how we should be better properly carrying ourselves. Connecting us to breath, to strength. And let's bring those legs together. Keeping the inner knees and ankles together, let's let the legs slowly go to the right. Find your breath. Then legs together, slowly back to center. Keep the body nice and heavy on the roll. Notice if you try to lift away a little bit, or you try to move away from that resistance. Heavy on the strap. When the knees come back to center, let's let them go to the left side, keeping the legs together. Breathing. Noticing the pressure, noticing the change as we move the legs from one side to the other. And then slowly bringing the legs back. We'll go one more time to each side. No rush. Takes a good 20 minutes to get out of the sympathetic part of the central nervous system. So perhaps maybe in this little practice that we're doing today, bring the legs back. We can kind of come out of that fight or flight system and moving into that rest and digest where we really truly start to do our best work, our healing. Slowly to the left. Noticing the pressure changes on the roll and on the strap. And then legs slowly coming back to center. When the legs are back, open the feet up. Take the feet about hips width or so apart, pressing actively into the feet. Lift the bum off the ground just to hover. Keep the bum behind, pressing into the feet. Start to lift the spine, the space between the shoulder blades. Lifting actively up into that little bridge. Let the shoulders sink heavy towards the strap. You might even take the hands to lengthen the back of the neck. A little more pressure into the feet, and let's lift up now off of the roll. And then take that roll out from underneath you. Slowly lowering yourself back to the floor. Once the pelvis comes down, let's slide up the strap a little bit so that we bring the bottom end of that yoga strap to where the bottom end of the white roll was. So as best as you can, slide yourself up the strap. All right, head is resting on the end. Let the arms come either next to you in a T or a cactus, or if you prefer to rest those arms on the body, you could do that too. Let the spine settle in. Notice the pressure points that black strap provides. Notice your spots. Maybe you feel the bottom end of the yoga strap quite a bit there. Maybe you feel it more between the shoulder blades. Become aware now of the places that you're not feeling the strap. Maybe that inward curve in the back of the neck. Perhaps in other places too. Slow breaths in and out of the nose. Letting the spine settle heavy onto the strap. And letting the strap settle heavy into the spine. Releasing the superficial strain and tension. As we start to release that, we can start to gain more mobility in the spine. And with slow, subtle movements that we do in the practice, we really start to work on stability here as well. I'm going to make it an option for you to stay here a little longer, just resting without any movement. If you'd like some movement, let's bring the feet a nice comfortable distance away from each other and away from the bum. Rest those hands on the ribs. Pressing into the feet, slowly lift up. As you make your way up into that higher bridge, directing the weight to the bottom of the neck, to that C7 vertebra, that bulging vertebra for most of us. Let the shoulders become heavy. And then slowly pressing into the feet, lowering yourself back down onto the strap. Bringing the tail down first, coming down one vertebra at a time. Pressing into the feet, let's do it again, nice and slow. Lifting up the spine, not just thrusting the pelvis up. Keep the bum behind, and then slowly lowering back down. Exhaling consciously, letting the pelvis come down. Feel that inward curve in the lower back as the tail sits down. Notice the pressure points along the black strap. Now grab that yoga belt that you have. Fold it in half. And then take the hands so that they're about shoulder width apart and reach those knuckles up towards the sky. Thumbs pointing towards one another. Let's stretch the arms up towards the sky. Feel the backs of the shoulders moving away from the earth. And then keeping the arms extended, draw the backs of the shoulders back down. Feel them almost hug or wrap the black strap. We'll think of this as a plugging in, connecting the arms to the shoulders. And now consciously try to soften and relax your shoulders. Without bending the elbows, start to bring the arms somewhere over the head until you feel the break of movement, a sticky spot, or perhaps maybe you feel some tension. Find the breath. For most people, this sticky spot will happen before the upper arm reaches the ears. If you start to notice that you're going way beyond the ears, I would probably challenge you and make sure that you haven't disconnected the arms from the shoulders. And then now slowly with the pull of the strap, bringing the knuckles back up towards the sky. Breathing. Keep the pull. And then again, bringing the arms slowly over the head, making sure that the arms are heavy and shoulders are relaxed. Trying to keep the ribs soft, that pressure point at the bottom of the black strap. And then with the pull of the hands, let's start to bring those knuckles back up, nice and slow. And then let's release the yoga belt off to the side, and we're going to do one more bridge pose, just working on building a lot of strength and stability in the lower half of the body as we release the upper half. So pressing into the feet nice and slow. And also a great opportunity to work with our deep core muscles here, those deep postural muscles. Those are your stabilizers. When we move really slow, we start to activate them. This is your inner core. Let's lift up as high as you can and then slowly start to lower yourself down. And as you do, you're lowering with the tail, coming down one vertebra at a time. Active in the feet, so we're not just collapsing down. And then once the pelvis comes down, let's take one arm across and we're going to roll to one side and come up. Let's do the atlas now. So we're going to take the black strap and fold it so that the length of the fold is the length of the forearm. Something like this. And then taking your fist, imagine that this is your head, and the back of the fist is the occipital, so the base of the skull. And right up high at the top of the neck is the atlas, our C1. So we're going to take this folded part of the strap and hook it underneath the back of that occipital. So the strap will go into place, something like this. And then coming down to the floor, let's lift the hips up just enough to bring the head down. And then with the feet, we're going to pull a little bit, and we're going to bring the bum towards the feet and then down towards the ground. So what you should notice when you do that is the back of the head kind of hooks around the edge of that strap. This is a great opportunity to feel as though you're getting traction, pulled apart. The knees could come together, feet apart. Or you could stretch your legs out long if you wanted to. Just make sure that you don't lose the hook. If you do lose the hook, which can happen over time, as we start to release this space between the shoulder blades, the head might start to come heavier and heavier back. If that happens, just open up the feet and the legs again, lift up just a little, pull with the feet, bring the pelvis to the feet, and then down to the ground until you get that little hook. Now the back of the head should be lifted just slightly off of the single fold, enough to put a credit card underneath there. So I don't want to lift it up too high that I could shove a whole finger or a fist under. Find your breath. Shoulders heavy. Try to stay with your breath. Lots of pressure between the shoulder blades here. Notice if you're resisting it. Let's just gently let the head rock side to side. After the head comes back from the left side, just let it stay at center. Take a full breath in and out. And then inhale, one arm across. Exhale, roll to one side. Pause there for a full breath in and out. And then pressing down into the top arm, guiding yourself up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me today for our 20-minute Yoga for Backs. I hope you have an amazing day. Namaste. Thank you.